Hello. Hello, hello. How we doing? How are we doing? How do you feel about Lupe Fiasco? That's this current rapper you're listening to. How do you feel about Lupe Fiasco? Sakura. Oh, I hate him. I was like his music. Well, I'm here. I just spent the last bit cleaning cat vomit. So I was thing is it was old, so it was like all in the carpet. So he threw up like under the edge of a chair, so I didn't see it. I don't know when he did. Um but I found it and I was like, oh, so I needed to take a little time to get it out. It's like even if it's a little old, I don't know how old it was. Even if it's a little old, the earlier you clean it out, the better. So hopefully it doesn't leave like a stain. Yeah, my gray carpet is, we can't have any tinges of color in it. Not allowed. So, yeah. So I sat there. I was thinking about getting like a little. They make these small rug washers, like little spot cleaner machines and stuff. And I clean up so much cat vomit. They always go to the two rugs I have in this one room. And I'm like, I think I should just get one of those. Right? They make those ones that like really do it. So I might get one. Or maybe a full-size carpet cleaner, maybe one of the big shark ones. I don't know if they're like really good though. It's just a pain to clean. Yeah, what isn't though? Any product that works tends to be a pain to clean, if I'm being honest. Why can't they peek on the tile? Why is it always carpet? I don't know. I think they're just attracted to doing things like that on something soft because it's like dirt or grass, which makes sense in nature. So I think it makes sense. I don't know. I'm trying to understand it and I'm like, I think this goes together. That's my guess. I don't know. Usually they don't actually leave stains on the carpet though, because I address it quickly. But I don't know. Hiding its instinct. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, so when they do this in like the grass or around a corner or whatever, it's to not have it be found, to not have it be seen, just as a survival thing, right? Like it's better for them to not get staked out by a predator or whatever. Yeah, they bury things, which is a behavior that they develop that's just a cleanliness thing. Obviously, not having any open waste anywhere is good. Same reason why you have a litter box for cats and they always bury it. So I think it's related to that, right? Which is why they'll always go to the carpet and like throw up. I guess. I guess. I don't know. Or maybe they just want to. Who knows? Do I have an automatic litter box? I have one. Nucky would use it properly. Wolfie had some issues where he would he would get into the automatic litter box. And the thing is, it's like this half circle is the litter robot. It's this like sphere that they stand in and they piss, right? And there's litter at the bottom. And Wolfie would like get in there, turn around, so his head's sticking out the front, and he would stand up. He just wouldn't squat like he normally would. Just something about that device, he would like be a little nervous and he would stand up and he'd end up pissing straight back right onto the hopper that drops fresh litter in. So I was like, Like, I watched him do it. I was like, who is doing this? I watched them. I staked them out. Nucky was using it properly, but Wolfie was just pissing straight on the back. And I was like, dude, no. I think he was just nervous about the shape of it, you know? So he was like using it and he was thinking he was successful, but he wasn't. So I closed it away. I washed it a little bit and closed it away and have them using a traditional one for now. At some point, I'm going to break it out again and try it again because it's very convenient for me and I think it's nice. But if he does it again, then I'm just going to find a friend or something with a cat and be like, hey, would you like this really expensive cat litter thingy? Because it's nice, but yeah, he's just a little weird with it. So I don't know, but they both would use it, you know. They were fine attempting it. It was just Wolfie like would stand. He wouldn't squat, he would stand and he would be straight back, like no drop off too, because he'd be right near the hopper, you know, like just straight back, 90-degree angle from the, if you draw a line out, you know, boom. So what can you do? What can you do? So I want to get the thing set up again at some point, but I felt like I needed time for him to forget about it. You got the automatic one. Your cat would do her business and then launch herself out after in an explosion of litter and sharticles. Mine do that sometimes. I'm trying to I was thinking about getting like a taller litter box that they have to like go up on some steps and then go down into it. And then when they need to get out of it, they climb back up over the edge. So that way they can't like run straight out. Because when it's close to the ground and they can run straight out, they just sprint. They just sprint. They're like hoo hoo woo, and they like have fun. They start wrestling each other, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like they'll poop and they'll be like, I'm so light now, and like sprint out of there and fling it. And there are times I've heard cat litter hit the ceiling because their back legs will like, you know, and they bury things really nicely. But like, I don't care, dude. I don't care. Freaking me out when you run out of the litter box like that, you know? Just freaking me out. Anyway, that's my cat story of the day, I guess. I don't even know. They need to figure themselves out, man. They literally get like excited. Yeah, they get zoomies like full on when they leave the litter box sometimes. But not all the time. So yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Your mom has 2 kittens. She's raising solo for the first time. It sounds stressful 24/7. Nah, I think cats are really easy to do an okay job with. They're hard to do a great job with. And if you cat-proof a lot of things beforehand, you won't have the worst time ever, but it's hard to cat-proof stuff if, you know, just depending on the way your house is. One of my friends just messaged me. He just found a kitten the other day on the street, and it was friendly and came up to him and didn't seem to have any other kittens around or a parent or anything. He took it to the vet, no microchip, and he's like, well, mine now. So he's been sending me pictures. And he was like, what do I do with it? like I don't know. Like he's been a dog owner before, and he was a really good dog owner, like brushing his dog's teeth and everything, you know. He was doing everything. So I was like, hey, you're gonna be fine. Feed them this, feed them that, this often, you know. I was just giving like advice on how to have your cat not end up fat, because everyone does that. But yeah, he got distributed a cat. It's good. He just moved out to a new city a while ago, and it's very far from where he's from, and he doesn't really know that many people out there. And I was like, he was like, yeah, I want to make friends, but I'm an adult and I also don't want to make friends. And I was like, hey man, you know, you can play games with us online and stuff. We always have our people that play shit, but I was like, you just don't need friends, just get a cat. And he was like, haha, I should. Maybe a dog, I don't know. We'll see. It's not the time. And then a while later, he was like, I really want to do it, but I just feel like there's never a good time. And I was like, that's because there never is a good time. Get one. And he was like, yeah, we'll see. He said that like a month ago, and then, you know, next thing you know, he's messaging me, I found a kitten, and he's got pictures of it. He sent me a picture where, he's got his hand on his mouse, right? and the kitten is like sitting on the right side of his mouse pad, like just taking up half the mouse pad. And I was like, man, I feel like every time one of my friends gets a kitten, they always have that same picture of the kitten sitting on the mouse pad, right? Where it's like a soft thing on the desk, it's near you while you're working, your hand is moving a lot, they just like go right there. Like he used to do that when I first got him, when he was like a little baby. So I was like, yep, classic. You're never giving that thing away. you're keeping it. It was good. It was good. He doesn't know what to name it though. Do you guys have good name ideas? Little orange cat, little orange male, little baby. What are good names? Murphy, Grubb, Bartholomew, Brandon. Well, okay. Okay, let's keep this in mind. My friend is really zesty. He's not gonna name his cat Murphy. This is a really zesty man, okay? Oh, Toby, Citrus, Todd, Crunchy. Crunchy's a good one. Zesty would be good, actually. But I know he won't. He'd be like, I hate that. Julius. Strudel, Pop-Tart, Cheeto. There's too many orange cats named Cheeto. He's zesty and obsessed with the idea of his cat has to have a semi-unique name. Semi. Lake Titicaca. Oh. Sangria. Should have opened with that. Yeah. Fanta. Ooh. Quell Surprise. Oh. Oh my god. I'm sending that one over. I'm sending that one over. You should name him Quell Surprise. Yeah, we need like a drag name for this thing. So if you give it a name, right, like one of you said Pumpkin. Okay, Pumpkin is good. But it needs like a long name that's its official name, and then it gets shortened to Pumpkin, right? Like Zesty Pumplestiltskin could be the full name, and then you call it Pumpkin. You know what I mean? That's what we need. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. You were ready. Quell Surprise is insane. Pumpkin Spice Walker. Ooh, yeah. Okay, we don't have to use the word pumpkin, but you get what I'm saying. If you suggest a name for the cat, you know, something real stage namey. Campari Cosmo. I think a play on Moscow Mule would be really great. Like if you could make a name that's a pun or works with an actual like English sounding name, because they're served in a copper thing and the cat is orange. It just like that's the kind of shit that he would love. Aperol Spritz. Aperol Spritz. That's a drag name. Yeah, like Spice Walker. That's what I'm saying. Pumpkin Spice Walker is so good. Moscow Mule. Oh, with MEWL. Yeah. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Nice try. Tequila Sunrise. It's Sunny for short. That's cute. Tequila Sunrise is good. Because that's the thing, is you go to the vet and they're like, what's your cat's name? And you're like, Tequila Sunrise. And then you call it Sunny in the office. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Pulp Francis, the Seeker of Knowledge. Call him Pulp. Ooh. Oh, dude, he should just name it Big Plumpy. No, that's mine. That's I'm reserving that for a future cat. Big Plumpy. You have a rat named Sunny. Oh. Oh, I had one named Lorenzo, but it was a girl. It was a girl. Very nice rat though, very sweet. I love rats. I would have pet rats still if they lived longer. I just can't do it. Can't do it. Nope. Your cat's names are Casserole and Fergus. That's good. I always liked old man names for pets, or like normal person names. I had a friend who had a dog named Maurice. And he would take his dog out and go do a thing and then come back and then tell someone about it. He'd be like, yeah, I was at the beach with Maurice. And when you hear him from afar, you'd be like, oh, his friend Maurice, you know? But he'd be talking about his dog. So you'd be like, yeah, he couldn't stop running around, you know? I had to scrub him down later. And you're like, oh my God, what? Right? What do you mean? Like, it gets weirder and weirder because you don't know it's a dog. I think that's the most fun. I love that. I love that. Your cat is named Mocha Mochila, and you call her Mochi or Mo. Oh! I always had a habit of naming my pets after other animals that they were not. You know, so Wolfie's a cat, but his name's Wolfie. Things like that. I think I've had 4... Yeah, I've had 4 different pets now that were just named after some other animal that they weren't.
Wait, hear me out. I think I popped off. Fuzzy navel, like the cocktail.
Fuzzy navel. But then you have to change it so navel is something else. Like I don't know. Nabilera, you know? Something like that. You gotta go crazy with it. You gotta go crazy with it. Make it longer. Always make it longer. And then that's the shortened version. It's just fuzzy. You work at a clinic and you have about 20 cats named Cat. Yeah, there's some people that don't name them entirely because they just go like, hey you, or they call them baby a lot. Like, hey baby, you know, or whatever to their cat, and that's just like what they call them, and they never give them a proper name. The cat just responds to that. So then when they go to the vet and they're like, what's the name? They're like, oh, cat, oh, baby. It's not like the actual name, it's just what they call them, which is the same, but it's different from like giving them a name versus calling them a nickname, and it just sticks, you know? I don't know. Your cat was named Squirrel at first because they had a squirrel tail. Aww. Yeah, I like hearing people's names for their pets and everything. It's really cute. Your neighbor's golden retriever's named Alan. Wait, that's really good. Yeah, I love a dog named Jeff. You know? It's good. It's real good. My favorite thing with golden retrievers is that, or retrievers in general, any retriever, I feel like normal human names fit them the best. Just the best. Family friend's basset hound was named Dave. Yeah, I knew, I've met a dog named Jerry. His name was Gerald. It was Jerry. I met one named, there was one really weird one. I met a lot of them in dog parks. I always like say hi and I'm like, what's your dog's name? Because I can't stop myself. There was my friend's Maurice. There was one that was, oh, Thaddeus. I remember there was this dog named Thaddeus that was always at this one dog park that I would walk past. And he was this little dachshund. He was a tiny short legs little dachshund. And he would just run around with the other dogs. And like, he'd be like hobbling around because he could barely run, you know, as fast as them. And his name was Thaddeus. And I thought it was just really cute for this little dachshund. I don't know. I was like, this is good. This is good. Yeah, Thaddeus the dachshund. That one really, really, really suited him. And he used to wear little outfits. His owner was this really nice little old lady, and she would put his harness on, and then over his harness she would put like little jackets and things, because you know it gets cold in New York, all that. So she knitted little sweaters. She would buy toddler size 2 clothing, so anything that's labeled 2T would fit him, which by the way is also the right size for most cats, just saying. So she would get clothing in like size 2T, and she would just put it on him. So eventually some people in like the neighborhood started just buying little shirts that they thought were cute for Thaddeus, and they would get like these they get these little shirts, or if they got a jacket and had long sleeves, people would like cut the sleeve in half and roll up the edge and hem it. And like a lot of people, because this little old lady was like, she was really nice, but she was like, she moved very slowly, she was quite old, she could only do just so much with her hands, you know.
Greetings, fair general. I hope during these trying times you're getting some good rest. Good news.
I never do.
I am still abstaining from the Golden Corral.
Good.
Even on the road. Good. Raw men.
You better.
GEEGA.
You better.
I wanted to name my cat Salon Purring and Ada Meow Face, but
oh,
my wife vetoed that.
That would have been good, but then you'd call it Alan and Ada, which is actually not bad.
I was going to name my cat after my favorite Pokemon, but was told Licky Licky was not a good name. Faction redeems chat.
Licky's a really good name, actually. Licky Licky. You would just end up calling it one Licky. The thing is, nicknames never, like, when you name cats, they don't always stick. Dogs too, right? You get a pet, and you come up with a name for it, and then you always end up like shortening their name more and more and more, and then you start calling them like just these little garbled bits of sound. It's like not even their name anymore. I've got crazy nicknames for my cats. Nucky, I just call him Nuck half the time. I just Nuck, like Chuck, right? I'm just like, hey Nuck. His name is long. He has a full first and last name. Okay, he's got a whole thing, and I just call him Nuck. Same with Wolfie. He's got a full name, and I call him Oof half the time. I just call him Oof. I'm like, what's up, Oof? Come here. And if I say Oof, he hears it, and he's like, that's me. He recognizes it. So, like, I don't know. I feel like stuff never sticks. Not oof. It's like UFF. Oof. That's what I call him. Put like an umlaut over it or something. I don't know. That's just what I call him half the time. I call him Oof or Uffy. If he hears that, his head comes up and he thinks he's gonna get fed. Or actually, if I say Wolfie, he won't then listen to a command if I tell him to come up to me. If I'm like putting my hand out and I'm like, come here, he'll only do it if I call him his nickname. He won't listen if I say Wolfie. He'll do other tricks and stuff, but he won't come to me if I say it. I have to call him his nickname. So I don't know. I don't know. Your family's cat is called Harimau, Indonesian for tiger, but you shortened it to Mau Mau. And did the same to your cat Thomas, who's Tom Tom. After that, you had to always have 2 syllables for a cat's name. Yeah. You get sometimes into like these naming conventions, and then it just feels right, you know? It just feels right. The evolution of nicknames for Fergus went from Fergus to Fur Goose to just Goose now. It always transforms. Always transforms. Obviously I'm not going to say their names. I have siblings where we've... So, some of them, the name that I call them is like... It's not even a conventional nickname for their name. It's just like an amalgamation of some letters that exist somewhere in their name, and then are just shoved together and said in a weird way. And I have some really weird nicknames for some of my brothers. One of my cousins too has like a crazy nickname to differentiate him from like some other people, and it just works. It just works. I don't know. Did you respond immediately to your own parents what your full name was called? Well, I was born at a time when we didn't do surnames really, so I didn't really have the full name thing. Name your cat's Tater Tot to Tater to Tater Bug to Bug. It went from Tater Tot to Bug. I like that. Your nickname from your sister's 2 letters. Well, a lot of people call me Gigi because it's just like shorter, I guess. It's not even actually shorter. Easier to say, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. I like pets. I like pets, but I really like when a family member has a kid. A lot of my cousins have had kids. And when they have kids, what I love to do is try to give them nicknames. And usually they hate them because I give them weird nicknames. But like, I pick ones that make sense and then they start to like them. And now all of my cousins' kids have weird nicknames for me that they enjoy. And like, and I'll call them these weird, like, little nicknames. And they're like, yeah. They only hate it when they first hear it. And then after a while, they're like, wait a minute, I like this. So I've been trying to do that, give them all weird nicknames. It's my personal project. He's more like a name, maybe, compared to GEEGA. GEEGA is a name. It's my name. What do you mean? That's me, Gunge. I've got some. I'm not gonna say them obviously, but I've got some weird ones. But they sound like names. It's just like weird compared to what their normal names are. But I like to, I don't know, garble it up. Because look, there's nothing worse. Obviously, this is not a real example. It's nothing worse than when your name's William and everyone calls you Bill, and then you're like, hey, my name's William. And they're like, no, I want to call you Bill. And you're like, I don't want a nickname. I like my name William. And they're like, all right, Bill. You know what I mean? But if you give them like a little bit of a more memorable, kind of weird nickname or something different, they'll be more likely to call you your full normal name or that, right? And it kind of gets you away from that trap of they want to call me, yeah, Billy. Like, a lot of people don't like that name that are named William, but they get called it all the time because it's just it's the conventional nickname that people are used to. I don't know. It's if you don't like the nickname for your name, it really sucks because everyone will just default to calling you that thing, even though you're like, I don't go by that name, you know? Killing Mouse calling Giegler and Galiga. She doesn't call me Giegler, she just calls me Galiga. Galiga. One of your coworkers was named Jeremiah and your older coworkers refused to call him that. They wouldn't call him Jeremiah? Where they just try to call him Jerry? Or even worse, Jeremy, just a different name? That sucks. You have a cat in the neighborhood who's named Gustav, but his owner keeps calling him Gustaccio. I do that. I do that all the time where I add suffixes constantly. Oh, it's so hard not to. It's so hard not to. I do the same thing. Gustaccio's a really good one. I like that. Your name is the less common version of the name people think it is, and it's always obnoxious when people call you by the other one. Yeah, and then you have to sit there and like correct them every time, and then you feel like an asshole for correcting if you have to do it more than once, and you're just like, You inherently don't trust people who give nicknames to you? I always ask, and if they're like okay with it, I'm like, all right, we're doing this, right? But I've noticed some people, they give nicknames and there's like this veiled thing, like, yeah, like if your name is Timothy and you want to be called Timothy and they call you Timmy. Timmy specifically sounds a bit juvenile. So a lot of people don't like it, right? But some people will like, they think it's a weird power move and they're doing it to one up or put the person down or something, and they try to call them something that makes them feel smaller, right? I think that thing, if you ever see someone do that, biggest red flag. That's something I think is just so annoying when you like force a name on somebody, force a nickname, and it sounds more juvenile or sounds smaller, you know? It's always like a weird power trip moment, and it's not like huge, it's just a little one, but like, why do you have to do that? You know, it's not a big deal. Why do you have to do it? I don't know. Calling a James Jimothy is a power move. I think Jimothy is one of the common ones where you take someone's name and you just add a different suffix that's not usually there. It's not really a suffix, but you know what I mean. But I like that. I like that. Like I turned Zen into Zenifer, you know? That sort of thing. Mycicle. If you know a Michael and you call them Mycicle, that goes crazy. That's a good one. That's the thing, though. Like, it shouldn't always be a name. It should be an actual suffix. Oh. Jabroni Mycicle. Oh, man. Oh, man, dude. Jonathaniel. Jonathaniel. Okay. I like it. But you need to pick a name that doesn't fit with perfectly, right? Like John and William put it together. The person's name is John. Call him Johnnyum. Done. Done. Johnnyum, come here. Right? Like, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Jabronathy. Ooh. Was it Tiffinization? What was Tiffinization? I remember seeing this word, but what was that? Let me see. Is that a thing? Or was it called something else? Maybe I'm thinking of something else. There was like a word like that where it's like a name, somethingization. And it was like taking names and adding the A and Y to the end, right? I remember someone calling it something like that, but was it Tiffinization or something else? I don't know. I don't know. Gilliam. Oh. You've been called Shawnathan. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Pamantha. Okay. Pamantha has similar letters to the point where only one letter has been replaced. I feel like that's okay, but not different enough. It needs to move more.
I give the biggest respect to my friend named Chad. Spam the emote chat.
Yeah, when someone's name is Chad. Oh, how does that feel if you have a name, a normal last name, and then it became a meme later? That's got to be one of the worst things ever. That has to be, right? Like, especially Karens. Oh my god, if your name was just Karen and you were just living your life, and then all of a sudden that became like a complete derogatory term toward a group of people. and you know, in a memey way. It's just what can you do, man? What can you do? Oh man. Damn, Daniel was only mildly annoying. Yeah, I guess a little bit. A little bit. Ooh, there's a whole article about how everyone named Alexa lives in hell now. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, they shouldn't be naming these devices after names that a lot of people have. Oh no. Oh, it's terrible. You called a friend Cummathy once and he's never forgiven you. Yes. Yeah, Karen's a tough one, though. I mean... And the thing is, if you just mention that that's your name, even if someone doesn't make fun of you for it, they're gonna have that conversation with you every time. They're gonna be like, oh man, must be tough, you know, dealing with the thing. And you're like, yep, everyone says that to me. I have had this conversation 4 times this week, right? Like, it's gotta be so annoying. So annoying to just have it brought up, even if the person's bringing it up nicely. I feel like any normal person would get pissed, you know? God, it would suck. Yeah, the association's there, right. So it's like no matter what the intent is, you're gonna hear about it. And you're gonna have that conversation 1,000 times. I have a friend who has a name that's in a song, or was in like multiple songs. So every time she would say her name, what's your name? Oh, it's this. They would start like singing her name, and they'd be like, you ever hear that song? And she's like, yes. Yes, I have heard the song. Like, you could see her soul dying a little bit more every time someone brought it up. Yeah, Roxanne's a good one. Sharona's a good one. Sweet Caroline. Yeah, there's a lot of names like that where, like, I mean, you just, it's like you become cursed because this artist made this song, you know? you can't, like, you can't do shit. You can't do shit. I said, my baloney. My baloney. Yep. Yep. You knew a lot of Carolines growing up? Yeah, that's a good one. Ooh, Stacy's a good one. Everyone starts singing Stacy's mom. There's a lot of songs involving Jenny for some reason. I think it's because Jennifer was such a popular name in the 90s. Like, the number of Jennifers created was far too many. I think that's really why. I don't know. My Shrek saying. Oh, it's so much. It's so much. Annie, yeah. In the US, 163 babies were named Daenerys in 2018. I don't like the name Daenerys. I don't like the way it's pronounced, and I don't like the way it's written, and how those two things are next to each other. It's also, yeah, yes, it's not a real name, but I don't think you can argue that anything's not a real name because names are things that people made up at some point, and then they stuck. Like, every name started like that for the most part, if it didn't come from an origin of meaning a thing. So, you know, it either came from a specific word that got turned into a name, or it was just made up. So, like, that part doesn't bother me as much. It's just it's the way it's spelled versus how you say it it doesn't fit. Like, phonetically, it's a little weird to me. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. You feel bad for all the kids named Khaleesi before season 8. People really jumped the gun. Oh, it's funny. It said Shrimp Jennifer Shrenifer. What the fuck? Oh, I like it though. I don't know what situation you would ever make that make sense in, but like, if you have a friend named Jennifer and she likes shrimp and you're like, I'm calling you Shrenifer, that's a good bit. She would hate it, but that's a good bit. I like that. You're gonna name your firstborn Glupshido. You have to. Now, everyone knows about Glupshido, though. I feel like Glupshido's been said enough times. You gotta get a new one. Love you a good bit. Hi, Ruben. Hi, Ruben. You know what your nickname is in my head, Ruben? It's just Boobin. But it has nothing to do with the word boob. It's not about that. And that's why I don't call you that, because I know chatters will be like, haha, boob, because it's all they think about. But like, I like the sound of it. Just boobin. Yeah, it's like if I took your name and made you Scrimblow Bimblow, I'd call you Boobin. But you know, yeah, everyone goes like teehee boob or something. And the thing is, in my head, it's B-U-B-E-N. It's not double O, because it's not that word. It's just like I replaced the R. But then when I say it, I'm like, But I've now released it into the wild, so, you know, there you go. I figured it's about time. He said, you think any name that has an actual etymology to it, or you don't think, oh no, you do think it's better than a new name. If it's made up, you instinctively think of it as lesser. Okay. So you think names with actual etymology are better? I think a lot of them sound better because they come from some sort of root, or they have something in common with other names that makes them sound quote-unquote real to you. But I don't know. Oh, May called you Pubin. Yeah, I think we should just call you Boobin. And the reason why I do that is because I had this cousin, young, would want to get a sandwich, a Reuben, but was really young and couldn't say it right and called it a boobin. So that's the other thing, like, this comes from a child, which is why it's not the word boob, you know? He would just call it a boobin, and I was like, It's the same way another not the same one, but this kid's sibling used to really like Thomas the Tank Engine. When she was really little, she loved Thomas. But when I would ask her what his name is, she would always say Pattis. And I would have her, she was learning to read, and I would have her sound out his name, Thomas, and I would spell it, and she would read out Thomas, right? And I'd be like, she'd go, Thomas. I'm like, okay, so what does it say? Pattis. And I don't know why. She was so good with reading everything else, but she just was like, it's Pattis. And I was like, why? Pattis. So now whenever I see Thomas the Tank Engine, my brain is like, Pattis. And I'm like, no. I see it and I hear it in her voice, in her, like, when she was little, her, like, tiny kid voice going, Pattis. And the thing is, if I said go find Thomas, she would pick him up. So she, like, her listening, right, was understanding that his name was Thomas. And if I said go find Pattis, she'd be like, what's that? So she thought she was saying Thomas. She just, like, it just was not coming out like that. She would just go Pattis. And then her older brother would call a Reuben a boobin. That shit was funny. And like, you know, when you watch kids and stuff, like, those things stick in your mind, right? So I got so used to calling the sandwich a boobin and Thomas is Pattis. Right? He said, you still call apple pie the way a kid in your neighborhood mispronounce it?
Let me see your doo-doo
Yeah.
The OGs will know. The Thomas the Tank Engine uck. Either Ringo Starr or George Carlin as Mr. Conductor.
Back in the day. I feel like Thomas nowadays is, like, just in books and as toys. I don't know that there's, like, a ton of Thomas media like there used to be, you know? Said your name is so easily nicknamed. You love Robert and Rupert. Rupert's a good one. I'll come up with some good ones for you. I'll think on it. I'm looking at it, and I've got a few, but I gotta hit you with them when the time is right. But boobin's a solid one. As a baby, you would call sandwiches salmons. I feel like everyone had those words. The thing I can't stand is when mothers, you know, when you have a baby, you use simplified versions of words. You literally do baby talk to have them learn to identify things, and then over time you have them start saying the proper word for it. So, like, for baby wipes, sometimes they'll be like, it's wipies, right? Things like that. It's very easy for a baby to say because they can make the E sound easily, and consonants are hard for them. So having them call it that helps them identify when they're first learning to speak, so that you understand what they're trying to say, right? Because if a kid is trying to say something and they feel like you don't understand them, they don't crave learning more. They're just like, this person doesn't understand me. It's just a frustrating thing, right? So you simplify words. So you say shit like wipies or whatever. The thing I can't stand, though, is, like, over time, when people don't teach their kid a proper word for a thing, and they'll be, like, 12. They'll be in middle school, and they're like, I need wipies. Right? I hate that so much. I hate it. I'm like, just call it the right thing. It's usually not the kid's fault. It's just, like, at home, you know, the parent keeps calling it that. I hate that. They usually, I mean, I think it's just a memory thing. Like, one or two things will drop off. Nuggies. Tendies. Yep. Oh, spaghetti is like nails on a chalkboard. I never said it like that. That's the thing. That was one that I never heard until I was older. And then I was like, no way people call it sketty. That one hit me hard. But it wasn't spaghetti, it was spaghetti, you know? Like, there was a little more spaghetti instead of spaghetti. So I don't know, maybe that's why it, like, stuck out a little bit. People acting way younger than their age is the number one thing that creeps you out. I don't mind if there's a layer of comedy to it, but when it's, like, 100% serious, I'm like, oh. right? If it's a bit or it's just someone's like I'm complaining and I know it's a juvenile complaint that I have, so I'm gonna say it in this way. Like that doesn't bother me, but you know, they do it all the time. I don't know. Your friends used to call elephants eleflumps. Eleflumps is good. I like that. Or yeah, Puschetti. What do people call it? Puschetti. A lot of Americans don't like ending words in IES because it's really heavily associated with baby talk. Like I said, you know, baby wipes, you'll go to a kid and when they're really little, a lot of them will just call it wipies because it's easier to say. There's a lot of there's a lot of that. A lot of that. So it kind of comes off as like not just juvenile, but like baby talk, right? You're 35, but you sometimes act like a 34-year-old to be cute. When you're actually 28, but you tell people you're 27. Ooh. Ooh. Just to feel something. Oh, your mom babysat a kid that used to call fire engines firetrucks. Yeah, firetruck. Fitruck. That's a good one. Oh. Isn't that what heffalumps are in Winnie the Pooh? Yeah, heffalumps are elephants. Yup. Used to call sunscreen skunskeen. I'm trying to think if I had any. I don't remember any of my own. I'm sure if I asked. I'm sure if I texted my mom and was like, did I do any of this? She would be able to think of one. Say, I'm gonna text her talking to my chat right now. When I was little, were there any words I made up or said incorrectly? Like when kids call spaghetti sketty. I'll ask her. We'll see if she texts back. Let's say Thursday. She probably will. We'll ask. I'll get her her potential expert opinion. I feel like I wouldn't remember this stuff, but maybe like my brothers would. Maybe some of them would. What if I message one? I was little. Did I mispronounce any words a lot or call things like spaghetti, sketty, for example? I know I didn't use the word sketty, obviously, but like, I'll give the example. I don't know. You had a family friend named Brooks and you pronounced it like Bakes. You used to call Dr. Pepper Paper Dector. Oh, yeah. Paper Dector goes crazy. I had some... So I had this family friend who always had different names for everything. So there were a lot of, like, stores that I didn't know the name of. And, you know, I'm from a more dense area where we don't have certain chains. It's a lot of mom and pop stores. So if I would go somewhere and this family friend would be with us and then he'd call a place a thing, I would think that that was the name. So one that I knew wasn't the name, but I would call it that anyway. Walmart was always Wally World. Okay? Long John Silver's was always Johnny Silver. Always. Right? And there were all these places that were just renamed. And I didn't really, like, see the regular versions of a lot of them. So I just, you know, Wally World, I think, is more common. Johnny Silverhand? This was before Cyberpunk, but he would just call it Johnny Silvers. And I'd be like, all right. It was Keanu. This friend of mine is, like, a much older man from Mississippi who has, like, a pretty strong Bayou accent, pretty strong, kind of, and he was really like, I don't know. He's one of the weirdest people in my life, but a very close person. And he would just rename shit. Every place that he talked about was the joint. When he would tell a story, or he'd say I was just at wherever, he'd always say the joint, and he'd never say where he was, and you'd have to listen to what he was saying and then know what he was talking about. And sometimes he'd tell you a story and he'd be talking about multiple places and they'd all be the joint. So me and the boys went down to the joint, blah, blah, blah. And then when I was at the joint later, and he's talking about a different one, and like I was very used to it. So I was able to sit there and figure out what he was talking about. But I'd be sitting in a group and he'd be talking and people would stop him mid story all the time. And they'd be like, wait, where was it? And I'd be like, he was talking about Wally World. You know, and I'd have to fill in for him because he didn't have the patience to like let people know. He'd just keep talking. That shit was always so funny. And I would always have to hop in and be like, it was just, that joint was this, that joint was that. Oh, it was funny. Bayou accents. It was really, I call it a Bayou accent, but it's a little, I don't know, a little more specific. But it's very, very southern, very southern. I don't know. He just says they instead of the name of who he's talking about, your uncle. Yeah, some people really do it all the time. I think a lot of older folks, especially, when, as they get older, and the name of a place doesn't come to them super quickly, they just keep talking because they know exactly what they're talking about. The name is just eluding them, so they just start calling it. I was at the place, and they just keep going. They steamroll through the story, and everyone's like, what is happening? This relative here say winder for the window. Well, this was not a relative. This is a really, really close family friend. I mean, this person might as well have been, like, this person was an uncle to me, right? I was closer to this person than a lot of family members, but we were not related. We were not related. It was his family friend. Find a cause by you. Yeah, I guess it all counts. I guess it all counts. One of my brothers answered and said, I honestly can't think of any that he used to say. We just made fun of and then he indicated one of my other brothers, but he called him something funny. He was like, we just made fun of him. Oh my god, that's true because he had a hard time with it. Oh man. He was like, anything you might have mispronounced was super normal and short-lived to the best of my memory. Okay. Fair enough. Oh man. Honorary uncle, still an uncle in your book? Yeah, I mean, it's rare that you can, like, look, no matter how much you think you can trust somebody, like, it's really hard to actually trust someone to just watch your kid, right? It's even rare, especially, like, my mother's not very, like, likely to just let me go stay with someone unless she knew them super well, and even then it was, like, at their home or something, right? This person was allowed to just take me on a trip. That's how much, like, we were close with this person. So much trust. They've always been in my life, you know, great, whatever. That shit's so rare. So that's why I'm like, that's my uncle, you know, like, that is my uncle. I have a lot of, like, people that are kind of like family like that, because we just had a lot of close family friends, but yeah, he's basically my uncle. But people would always think I was getting kidnapped, because we don't look alike at all. We look quite opposite. And then he'd be like, I'd be like this New Yorker, you know, and then he'd be like this man from the bayou. And people are not nice, and they would like think I was like not okay, and I'd always be like, this is my uncle, and they'd be like, that's not your uncle, and I'm like, we're not related, we're very close, it's fine. And I'd be like explaining this, and people still would have issues, and I'd be like, brother, please. Because the thing is, it wasn't just like he'd take me to the park or something. We'd hang out, we'd go to the fucking the dollar store, you know. He would take me to like fun spots and shit. And I'd just be hanging out with him. Like, he wasn't bringing me to places that I wanted to go necessarily. He was just doing his day, and I'd be like, I want to go with you. you know? And he'd just go around. He'd go to a random, we would go to this random ass flea market, and we'd just be walking around the flea market. So people would have major red flags. They'd see us walking together in the flea market, and they'd be like, who the fuck is this? You know? They'd be like, is she okay? And then we just sounded nothing alike, and it was so funny. It was so funny, honestly. He didn't mind that much, you know, because like he had ways to quickly like let them know it was okay, and he was used to it. But shit was so funny. Flea markets are super fun. There are a lot in the city. There are a lot of them. Yeah, there's a ton. There's a lot of really, really cool shit to see at them. So, you know, we would go all the time. And I don't know. Could have been your aunt's partner as well. Not looking related is not really a reason to deny a relation. I know, that's the thing. I have a lot of family members that I am related to that look nothing like me. We're closely related, yet we look nothing alike. We have a very wide range of looks in my family. And then on top of that, a lot of people would marry people that don't look just like them, you know? That's normal. Not everyone marries someone that looks identical to them. So yeah, there was a lot of that always. But even so, I mean, this happens with dudes. Like if you're a girl dad and you take your like young daughter to the park, a lot of dudes experience this where women will stand around and sometimes they'll shoot them like accusatory looks. Cause I think nowadays it's gotten better. It still happens. It's gotten better because people are more used to like dads just solo taking their kids to the park. But for the longest time, a lot of them didn't. It was uncommon. So that when they would see a man alone at a park watching the kids play, they wouldn't assume, oh, this must be a parent. They would be like, why is this guy here watching the kids play? You know? So like a lot of dads have this problem where they're just trying to bring their kid to the park, and then someone's like, get out of here, you shouldn't be watching, and they're like, that's my kid. You know? Yeah, can't hurt to be wary. I think as long as the person approaches it in as the best way possible, you know, like if their intent is good, their intent is good. It's fine. I have done that where I've seen a kid playing in a park. You know, I'm taking a family member, a young family member to the park as well. And I see some kid where person who is their parent, but I'm not sure at the time, right? Comes up and picks them up and is like, we're going. And the kid's like fighting it. And they're like, no, because they don't want to leave the park. They're like, no. And I'm like, hold on. We got to make sure. Is this a kid that just doesn't want to leave the park? Or is this not their kid, right? And there have been multiple times I've stopped someone and been like, hey, I'm trying to do due diligence here. Is this your kid? And they'll be like, yeah. And then I'll talk to the kid. I'll be like, is that your dad? You know them? Have you known them your whole life? You know, like, and the kid's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, cool. Just checking. Sorry about that. You know, like I've done that enough times because I don't know. Sometimes the way they struggle when they're like, get off the swings, we're going home. They're like, no. And you're like, I don't know. Sometimes, often you can like, you can tell the difference, but sometimes it's hard to tell. So what can you do? You know, what can you do? I don't know. Is it your pasty white stay-at-home dad with his daughter that looks 100% of her looks after the Hispanic mom? Yeah. You feel so bad because like sometimes the kid just looks nothing like them, but it's literally like their biological kid. Or even worse, if they're adopted or it's like the step-parent who's stepping up, you know, and everything's good, but they have no genes in common. Like, you know, that can be real funny. That can be real funny. Something one of my cousins did that I thought was like, you shouldn't have to do it, but it was a good idea. He had this little bracelet that he'd put on, and he put on his kid's wrist that matched. And it just said like, yes, I am her dad, and had like the name. And then the kid had like, yes, that's my parent, and the name, right? And it was just a little wristband. And when they would go out, specifically to the park, anywhere where you kind of let your kid go and let them go run around a little bit, it was that. Because then also his idea was if someone else ever tried to take his kid, then he can immediately rush in and be like, boom, a physical thing that puts us together, right? And I was like, that's a good idea too. And I actually think like every parent should just do that, honestly. Like there's no reason not to. Straight up make them wear dog tags, right? Like give them a little, I mean, I don't think kids should play with like a necklace on depending on how old they are, but you know, something like that to mark them without just fucking like tattooing their head, you know? Something like that is pretty solid, so that way, you know, you have a little something. Yeah, a little something. Microchip them now. Yeah. You said you're child free, but if you ever have to take your nephews to the park solo, you're breaking out the leash. It's if it's not too busy, it's not too bad. The thing is, you have to sit there and watch them, and a lot of people just sit back on a bench and just don't watch. And I'm like, it gets scary. It gets scary, you know. Knowing people are looking out for your kid's comforting thought, even if it causes awkward situations. Yeah, anytime I've checked if someone's actually like their parent or whatever, they haven't been mad at me because I was nice about it. I was nice about it, and I didn't just address the kid and brush the parent off. I was just like, hey, I'm just gonna do some checks if you don't mind, you know? And of course some people, like, yeah, obviously they look a little inconvenienced, but I haven't had horrible experiences with it. Tattooing your kid's a great idea, actually matching sleeves. You get a matching sleeve with your child. God. I don't know how many people have actually had a child tattooed and how those tattoos end up looking after they grow. I feel like they would get so weirdly stretched, right? Let me see. Let me see. I don't know. I don't know if there are many good examples of that. Of like getting a tattoo when you're smaller and you grow. Right? I don't know. I'm not finding any. I'm not finding any. GEEGA Googles how to tattoo baby. No. No. I'm assuming that it's probably illegal. Even with parent and child consent, it's probably illegal in certain places, but maybe not others. Or maybe there like, are there ages? I actually don't know. Like, is there legislation on that for the US? You aren't allowed to get them until 16? Yeah, but is that federal? Is that statewide? I know you aren't on your own. What if the parent goes with them? I don't know, right? At what level? I've never looked up any of that. Medical tattoos and twin ID tattoos happen? Yeah. For sure. State to state it differs? Okay. Yeah, I figured. When it stretches, the child ages and gets bigger. That's what I was most curious about. That's where the question came from, is I wanted to know, like, what does that look like? Right? Like if you have a child get a full tattoo, which I think is crazy, what would it look like when they get older? I'm curious. Might depend on the shop too. Yeah, I know some places like you can, like 16. You can rather at 16, right? And then the shop will still have a policy like you got to be 18, or some of them are even like you got to be 21, because they just feel like people keep getting shitty tattoos at 18 and they're tired of it and they don't want to be responsible for it, so they just go ahead and they're like, nah, let's just slap a bigger number on there, you know? Get your kid to international waters in order to tattoo them. You could. My father told me when I was very young, if I ever wanted a tattoo, he was like, I'll just take you somewhere where it's allowed. Meaning like out of the country. He was like, he's like, I'm not saying I think you should get one. I just want you to know that I will never restrict you. And if you wanted to do this, while I would advise against it, if you were set on it and paying for it, I would help you. I was like, I'm good. I'm good actually, but thank you. He was like, it has to be a good one though. My dad was always really good at art. So he had actually drawn for some friends that wanted tattoos. He had drawn the sketches of those tattoos for a lot of people. And I told him, I was like, if I ever got one, like it'd be cool to have one that you drew, because I like his art style for it. It doesn't look very like old timey tattooy or anything. And I was like, if I got one, I'd probably want like you to draw it or something. And he's like, well, if you want one, and I was like, no, I'm not saying give me one now, because I was like young, you know, for that shit. I was like, that's cool, but I'm not saying let's go, you know. It'd be really cool, but I don't know. I don't know. He's really good at art though. He never like he wasn't a professional artist or anything, but he's really really good at it. He always practiced it. So that's what he ended up doing to keep the hobby. Was like he ended up drawing tattoos out for some friends that wanted a certain thing. And this was at a time when you know, you couldn't just go look up what you wanted for a tattoo online very easily, you know. So he would like draw out the ideas that a lot of people had, and he'd be like, do you mean something like this? And he'd, you know, sit there with them, because you couldn't really, the only way to like get a tattoo back in the day was to go to a tattoo artist, tell them what you wanted. If they had a book of works, you could look through it, like their usual catalog, and that was it. You know, you had to just go to different shops and find cool artists, and there wasn't really like a good way to find new people and new styles. So, you know, back in the day, he'd draw them for people sometimes. Please tell me you used dad as a cracked anime artist. No, he does more realism, or he can do geometric stuff where it like looks like it's vectorized. But no, he can draw, like he can do portraiture. I said portraiture, and he can sit there and draw a person pretty well. He's good at that. He could draw still lifes really well, etc. Almost all pencil. He wasn't really much of a painter. Wasn't much of a painter at all, actually. He would do like pencil and sometimes pastels or colored pencil he could do. But yeah, he didn't work with like anything wet, really. But he's always good at that. Your dad, when talking about tattoos, always talked about seeing wrinkly old men with Bugs Bunny on their arm and thinking, you think he's still happy about that? Yeah, that's what I think in my head too. And I know myself, I hop from thing to thing. I'll get into a thing, I like a thing for 2 years, and then I'm done with it. You know, there are some things that are going to be constant throughout my life, but I think most stuff that I'm into, eventually I'll fall off of, and that's okay with me. I'm fine with that. So I can't think of many tattoos that I would want that I wouldn't just look at in like 2-3 years and be like, I don't really want this anymore. So that's really my big thing. Like, I think I like tattoos. I just wouldn't. Not for me, you know, because I just feel like I'm not a person who wants a forever thing on my body. I'm just, nothing's forever or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. What about a henna tattoo? No, no. No, no, no. I'm good. Your biggest gripe with tattoos is that a lot of people get random ones. Yeah, they just get something that they think looks cool and doesn't have much significance. I think that's okay, because if it's just for aesthetic reasons, then that's fine. I mean, I think that's okay. But I don't know. I don't know. But I think I'm too picky. I'm picky about a lot of things. I think I'm too picky for that. My tastes change. I don't always like the same things. You know, I don't like to do the same thing. Something I like to do for some time might be different. You know, so I feel like I'm not the right person to to go permanently put something on my body. Because I don't know. I change my mind a lot. So, I'm good. You have a memorial tattoo to your mom. Yeah, I think stuff in memoriam, stuff that's like, some people get a tattoo related to like their child, things like that. I think stuff like that is still good, but I feel like I wouldn't be able to pin down something that would like do right by those things. If I had a kid, getting a tattoo to represent my kid, I feel like in a year it wouldn't feel right. I'd be like, no, actually this represents them more, or whatever, right? Or if I have, I want to get a tattoo to remind me of a grandparent that passed. I don't know. I don't know what you would pick. And I don't want a name tattooed on my body. I don't want that. Like I'm not into that. So I'm just like, I don't know. I feel like I'm too indecisive. We're not indecisive. I can be really decisive and then I change my mind decisively a year later. So, I'm not really I'm not the one for that. I'm not. How about tattooing your own VTuber avatar? I think that's so stupid. So I can walk around and then be like, check out, this is me, by the way. You think I want to do that? I want to be able to go outside and live my life and have no one look back at me ever. I want to go to a grocery store and no one thinks twice. Yeah, it ruins the whole point, man. It does. It took you 15 plus years to get your second tattoo? This is really hard to find the thing that you want to be a permanent thing on your body. Yeah, I'm like that, where I'm like, it's too much. What about some epic Chinese proverbs? Ooh, yeah, I'll get kanji on my arm that says, like, fried tofu skin. So delicious. So delicious. Or just combo, just that face. Oh, could you imagine? It'd be so good. It'd be so good. I don't know.
Chinese for emptiness or sky emoji. Meditating businessman emoji. Chinese for possibility emoji. Hear me out.
Oh.
Kanji plus tribal design plus Roman symbolism.
Okay, hear me out. Okay, tribal armband. Okay, you've got kanji up right above that, and then up top another tribal armband, but instead of it being tribal, it's like Greek column tops. It's sandwiched. It'd be so cool.
What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese
A
meal?
tattoo of him as he's getting shoved into the car saying that. What is this question? Someone said, have you ever tried coding, brother? Yeah, I sure have. I sure have. Don't forget the Celtic knot. Oh, everyone's got one. Everyone has one. And then they like celebrate St. Patty's Day, and they're like, suddenly I'm Irish, and then they go back to being American the rest of the time. God. He doesn't know. No, guys, I'm just a VTuber, dude. I'm just a VTuber. Don't forget. Don't forget. You said you got 2 on you. 1 you designed yourself, and 2nd one's from the profession you learned. Ooh, design yourself as in like drew yourself, or just design like you came up with the concept for it and had someone clean it? I think either way, designing your own, whether you're the actual like person drawing the lines or not, is still nice. Still really nice. If you want to get funny with it, get half of the neutered symbol.
I'm an engineer and I have always wanted to get a ruled tattoo on my inner arm.
Ooh, that would be cool, but it would move over time. It would move over time, so it wouldn't be correct. Or if you like work out a little, and then it just like adjusts. Ooh. I was thinking about it. I was going to potentially get a huge tattoo if, or maybe not a huge one, just like something, if my surgery turned out to be the one where they had to do a full exploratory laparotomy. If they had to do it like that and made like this huge incision, my incision would have looked like the boss from Metal Gear, just not going all the way up, right? It would have just been like this big line from like bottom of my sternum all the way down. So if I had that, I was like, then I might actually get something, not to cover it. I wouldn't want to cover it, but to like go along with it or something. But it was like a maybe. It was a maybe, And then I didn't have to do exactly that, so I was like, okay, I don't really need it now. I don't really need it. But I thought that would have been cool. That would have been neat. But it turns out, you know, if the scar turns out looking like cool on its own, then I wouldn't want to do anything to it. So I don't know. I was like, we'll see how it turns out. And then I didn't have to get the big incision. So I was like, okay. All right.
Scar tissue tattoo hurt like a mother fur.
I know. That's why I was thinking something with it and not like over it, you know, necessarily. I know some people cover their scars, but I think you don't need to cover it. I think there are cooler ideas where I've seen people do things like that. Like I have one friend, she had appendicitis a long time ago. She has this one tattoo where the line scar is. She has this line that's it kind of turned into like a little bit of a keloid scar where it like protrudes a little. It's a little bumpy in some spots, and then in other spots it's just like a thin white line. So she has this scar where her appendix was, right, and they cut her open right there on the lower right. And she got a tattoo. It's like from the side, a little boat with a guy in it fishing. It's just like it's above the scar, like the scar is the water because it's kind of wavy where the keloid bits came in. So the tattooing isn't on the scar itself, it's right above it. And it's like the guy's fishing into the water. And I was like, that's actually really, really cute. Because she is one of the people who like doesn't think scars are cool necessarily. She was like, I really don't want to have visual scarring. And especially when it started like getting bumpy and it was just healing in that way. Some people just, you know, their body decides to heal like that. She was like, oh shit, what do I do? And I was like, dude, just like, I don't know, tattoo it. She had like a couple other tattoos. And she was like, maybe, I don't know. And then I see her like many months later after things have like healed up, and she just has this little like fisherman. It was very minimalist too. I thought it was cute. I like that. And that was really cool. I liked the idea overall. So that's kind of what made me think like, oh, if I have my big surgery, maybe I'll do something, but I don't need it. I have 5 major scars from that surgery, and they're all pretty small. Some of them you can see. Some of them are in spots that no one's ever gonna see, really. Like one is like low, like on the side near, basically it's over my hip bone. Who's gonna see that? Like, you know what I mean? So I'm like, I don't really think that's like that important. So I think I'm good. You have an Excalibur tattoo on the back of your forearm. Had to get it redone after you started being a gym rat. Oh yeah. Did your like forearms grow and then it like got weird? It happens. That's one of those things where I'm like, certain spots are less risky with that. Others, I don't know. You might end up having an issue with like where it is, you know? He said, you know someone who has a tattoo of a side profile of Bill Murray in the French Admiral's uniform. He has no idea who Bill Murray is. Then why'd he get it? I guess he just thought it looked cool. One of my friends actually had a tattoo and then it had to get cut through. So they had the tattoo first and then they had a surgery and had to get cut through. And it was a friend who had to have like a shoulder thing done. So the back of her shoulder, they had to go in through there and like do something with a muscle or whatever, you know. So they went in there and they had to cut through the tattoo specifically. So the way it healed wasn't perfectly together. It's like off a little, like the lines don't match up, but it looks really cool because the lines don't match up and then it has this line going through it of scar tissue. And it like looks neat. I don't know. I feel like the end product looks really neat. So I was like, you know what? That's pretty good. That's actually pretty good. So I like that. I like that. Yours went out of scale a bit and looked weird. Sometimes they stretch and like the lines just get fuzzy. I think that's a scary thing too. A lot of people get tattoos that are, I think nowadays a trend is like super fine line work. Very, very, very thin lines, and it's like detailed and they're beautiful, but I feel like it's so easy for them to get weird looking over time. So you have to go in and get them fixed up a lot, and then there's only so much you can fix before you're just adding more ink and you have to start covering it or changing it entirely. So I don't know. Yeah, they don't age well. One of my cousins has like a few that are like that, and I was like, girl, it's like on her forearms, and I was like, you're gonna have to eventually probably like change those up. And she's like, I want to end up having a sleeve, so I'm ready for it, and I will have someone cover it up later. And I was like, okay, as long as you know that, fine, you know, totally fine. but they're like tiny, like super thin lines. So, I don't know. Have you seen people whose entire skin is inked? It's cool, but it's one-way street. Oh, you mean like blackout? Like full blackout? I've seen that. I've seen I have one friend who has like big geometric tattoos, and he's like covered. He's got like neck, body, arms, legs, like everything. and it, you know, some of it involves like really big, thick, rectangular lines, like a giant X. Some of it looks like brush strokes, and it looks really cool, but it's a lot. Yeah, and it's a lot of like big rectangles that are completely filled in. And some of the spots they go over, I'm like, God, that must have hurt so much. That must have taken so much time too. It's not even how much it hurts as much as it is like you're just in pain that whole time because they have to like color in this whole thing. I don't know. I think that's a lot. That's a lot. You want to get your hands blacked out, leading into fade out around the wrists. I feel like hand tattoos are not the best because the skin on your hands adjusts so much and takes so much of a beating that I feel like anything you do on your hands, you have to get redone all the time. All the time. And the skin on your hands also is replenished more often. Same with your face compared to your like the skin on your body. Typically, it's like just a faster cycle of dead skin coming out and being replaced with new fresh skin. So yeah, the fading is a lot, etc. So it's just something to keep in mind. You just have to like get it gone over again at times. So that's one way to think about it, right? It's like how much maintenance you're gonna have. Any of my friends that have hand tattoos have had to really like do a lot. Your hands are riddled with scars. I have a lot, yeah. A lot of my scars are like, as I look, they blend in pretty well with my skin, so you don't like notice them. But I know they're there. I know they're there. And anytime like something changes, I can like see them. Like if I go out and I'm like, you know what? I've decided I'm gonna go like ultra tan this summer. Then you can like really see them. So, yeah, I'm looking at them now. Yeah, it wouldn't be good for me. Wouldn't be good. I do have a little scar on my leg that's like a straight line. I think about my friend with the little boat tattoo. I have this one, and it's like a perfectly white line. No matter how much it's been exposed to the sun. You know, a lot of scars when exposed to the sun get darker over time. This one is like it sticks out starkly against the rest of me. It's just this white horizontal perfect line just across my leg. And I got it when I was building my computer. And I don't know why it scarred so easily. I was building my computer. I had my tower, which is metal, and I had the top metal plate that like covers the top off of it. And I just walked past it, and the corner of the metal frame, I don't know, it's like the front right corner, my leg just scraped against it, and it was just this clean, semi-deep cut. It just went, and I was like, oh. And I barely even felt it. I just was bleeding, like, from this line. I was like, oh my God. Pat it down, bandage it, you know, good to go. It's scarred. I don't know. And now I have this perfect, like, white line. It's like, I'm looking at it right now. So I look at it, and I'm like, might be cool to put a little, you know, boatman on there or something. But I don't know. I would hate it after 3 months, so maybe I'll get temporary ones for fun. I think that's what I'll do. I think I'll go to someone who does like really good temp tattoos, like genuinely good ones, because there are people who do. They essentially do like an upgraded version of henna, upgraded in the art department, right, where it's like proper tattooing in style of art, and maybe I'll get someone to do something just for fun. Is that basically a gamer dent? Yeah. Yeah, fought a big battle with my PC. I don't know, dude. Get a small line of your ideal tan color tattoo for reference when you're tanning. No. My skin tone rubber bands so easily. I could never. I go outside once and I'm like cooked. I just, there's no hope for me. I could not keep myself at like one consistent thing ever. You like the temporary Indian tattoos they do for events? That's what I was talking about. Henna tattoos. You could do like just henna on yourself. You could. How long those last? Henna can last a while. It can last a long while. You have a T-shaped scar on the web between your ring and pinky finger. You got when molten solder fell on it. Oh. Ooh, yeah. I have one little burn scar. It's like tiny though. It's barely there. It's not really noticeable. Mine are mostly like from hiking or doing a sport where I had a lot of little injuries, some big ones. I got straight up stabbed by a stick at one point. I was hiking and got like thrown to the ground and then fell onto a stick at one point and just straight up stabbed into my back a little bit. And that turned into something. So I have things like that from like hiking, but you know, that shit sucked. Wait, what? I mean, it's not like it stabbed super deep. It didn't like puncture my abdominal muscles or like, you know, not like that. But I was bleeding a lot. So that sucked. But you know, not too much. I have a scar from a cat bite from this. I loved him, but he was a fucking asshole cat that I was taking care of at one point. He was feral, and he had an injury, and he was from a cat colony that was kept outside, and I was getting him medical care. And he was totally fine all the time, totally fine. I could leave food in front of him, and he would just hide. Then one day he just decided he wanted to attack me. He just attacked me, and I got a really bad bite from him, so I've got like this cool bite mark. So that sucked, but you know, I got a cool bite mark at least. It got so infected too. I immediately cleaned it and immediately went to a doctor and got a shot, an antibiotic shot, because cat mouths are so dirty. You are so likely to get a bad infection if they like draw blood, you know, like they really bite you. And even though I got it immediately treated, I still had like a big infection there. So yeah, that sucked. Yeah, it was the bite of 87, dude. I really like that. That was probably one of the worst injuries I've had because the aftermath, like moving my arm, is so painful for so long, from all the swelling from the infection and the way the tissue was affected. That shit sucked. It sucked. So, yeah, be careful with bites, dude. Be careful with bites. I just started following you last night during peak. Well, welcome. Good amount of your scars from cat scratches. Yeah, sometimes when it's like a really thin scratch, but it's a clean line, I feel like those scar for me more than like some of my nastier looking wounds when they were wounds. And I don't exactly know why that is, but I don't know. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's because those you open up a little bigger, like your skin separates a little more rather than you being like scraped up. Maybe that's why. I don't know. All in all, though, I don't scar super easily. There are a lot of injuries I've had where I feel like I should have scarred, and my body just erases it. My body is just like, nope, and it just looks like nothing. I've had some really bad cuts and gashes and things that I have, like, I look now at where those were, and there's just no sign of them. Zero. So it's interesting. I don't know why certain things will scar for me and others won't. But, oh well. You have a scar on your chin because you fell chin first when you were a kid? Ooh. Yeah. Keloids. Yeah, I don't have any keloid scars. I think my body, I'm pretty sure there's a genetic factor in that or something, but I have never had any major scarring that turned into or like became a keloid scar. I don't know. My body doesn't do that one. It just doesn't. So whatever that gene is, I don't have that one. And I don't think anyone in my family really, in my close family, has those. Interesting. Very interesting. Your aunt had one on her butt. Oh, burn scar. From one of those cast iron pointy fences she was jumping over because the gate was locked. She gave herself a wedgie in the process. Oh God. Yeah. Oh, yikes. I've talked about it before. My dad has like a ton of burn scars in some spots, and he had to have skin grafts. So he's got chunks of his legs that are like if you touch the skin there, it feels like as if he put plastic wrap, like saran wrap, over the skin, and then you touch it, where it just feels completely smooth and literally like plastic. To the point where when you touch it, you're like, that doesn't even feel like skin. He's got that going on chunks of his legs. So he's got these like bare patches on his legs that are completely smooth. Work related? No, he was playing around when he was younger, and so some kids were being really stupid and setting things on fire. He was a bit younger and just nearby and was watching. And someone ran past him when they accidentally set, like, it was like a bush on fire or something like that. And like some of the kids started like running away because they realized they fucked up, and he got bumped into and fell into the bush that was ablaze. And he, so like his ass and his legs got like cooked, absolutely cooked. He had like 2nd-degree burns all over. And he was in the hospital. They had his legs up in stirrups because it was the backs of his legs and stuff. He had to get skin grafts. They had to take skin from his butt because that's usually where they do it, for like your legs and stuff. They had to graft his own skin onto himself. And they had his feet in stirrups so that he was like basically suspended above the bed for any part that was burned, because it couldn't touch anything because it was painful. You had to keep, like replacing everything. 2nd degree means down to the dermis. Yeah, it was really bad. Yeah. So he's got some shit with that. Did the kids call him butt leg after? No, but I did. I called him butt leg. He would make really, really morbid jokes because he has this kind of humor where if I would ever touch it, he'd be like, you shouldn't touch kids like that because it happened when he was like 10, and he would always joke that skin is his 10-year-old ass, and I'd be like, stop, and he'd be like, you shouldn't do that. He'd always make these horrible jokes, and I'd be like, bro, stop. Or the worst is sometimes he'd be in shorts and he'd like lift up his shorts so you could see it, and he'd be like, I won't tell anyone if you touch it. And I'd be like, shut up. He's got terrible humor, but oh man, we would always make like really bad jokes about it, but like only to each other, because like you have to know the full context of everything that happened to him. You have to understand that he has skin grafted onto the backs of his legs that was from his butt when he was 10. All right, like you have to know that context to hear the joke and not be like, what the fuck are they talking about, and like be concerned. So we would not tell those jokes in front of other people. That shit was always so funny. Did you and him ever make ball jokes? Oh yeah, about my missing ball. 100%. Always. Shit was always funny. Oh, his dark humor, man. I don't know. He's done a lot in his life where I feel like he deserves to have that humor. If anyone can make jokes about like crazy shit, it should be him. It should be. First time wanting to jump into a GEEGA stream and I hear skin grafted onto butt. No. Skin from butt grafted onto backs of legs to cover burns. That's how they do it. Because the skin on your butt's like really thick. So if they take a layer of it, you're not going to have a hard time healing up. Compared to if they tried to pull that skin off of like your arm to graft it, that would be crazy. You don't have that much, So, yeah. Yeah. So that, when they do grafts, they tend to take skin from spots where you've got like thicker stuff, and a lot of time, it's your ass. That's just how it goes. Still relatively new. Was the context of GEEGA's missing ball? I have a whole YouTube on it. TLDR, I had ovarian cancer. And, yeah, lost one. Along with some other shit. But mostly, organ-wise, it was that. Oh. Oh, shit, I was gonna say. I was like, it didn't work. Did we not? I thought we had. Did we not? Oh, shit, wait, I thought we set one up. Oh, there it is. He just needed a minute. He needed a minute. Yeah, if you want to hear the story, that's, I made a video. or no, I told the story on stream like a year after it happened because I didn't tell the community at the time because I didn't want them to like do nothing but talk about it while I was dealing with it. You know, I was like, that would be really annoying. So I said, I don't want that. I'll just talk about it later. And then like a year later I did. And the videos from that. But yeah. You and Heavenly are the same. I know, dude, sometimes I'll make like a one ball joke. And people will be like, you can't say that. Heavenly can. And I'm like, well, actually. You know, I go, okay, all right, whatever you say. Actually, I can. And my favorite thing, it's a little mean. It's a little mean, but my favorite thing is when someone's like joking about it and then I'm like, no, I actually lost one to cancer, and then they get upset and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. It just makes me laugh. Like, because sometimes they'll come in aggressive with the joke and then they're like, I see them backpedal and I'm like, you know. GEEGA almost died, so please consider buying soap through her. So true! Exclamation point scum. 10% off. It was 20% last week, but now it's back to 10. Thank you, by the way, if you did the thing last week. Because we did raise a bunch of money for charity through it. If GEEGA and Heavenly ever shook hands, would that count as a scrotum? Yeah, I always joke that together we are a full pair. Yeah. We are one full pair. It's true. It should be our duo name. That should be our duo name. Sorry, it's totally random, but what's your favorite sport? I don't know. I like watching a lot of sports, but I like watching like honestly a lot of track and field shit. I like to watch like javelin and discus and shit. I like watching soccer. Formula 1 if you count it. If you do. I like watching rugby. I like watching rugby. I'm not a football fan, like American football. Not a football fan. I like watching tennis. Actually, unironically, I really, really, really love watching golf. I love watching golf. And I know it's not the greatest spectator sport ever, but I love to just sit there like golf is on the TV. I'm doing some folding some laundry, and I'm just checking in. I don't know. I've just always done that. Tennis, honestly, I know I wouldn't say it's the same type of sport, but hot dog eating, straight up, any sort of like competitive eating is my favorite. I love watching competitive eating, man. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Did you guys watch, did you watch Joey Chestnut at the 4th of July one? I told you guys beforehand so you could all go watch it so you wouldn't miss it. They would not let me stream it because it was on ESPN, and ESPN doesn't let you stream anything because they hate content creators showing their shit ever. They hate it. They hate it so much. But you can, you just can't broadcast it live. You can see it later. But their live broadcast, they do not allow co-streaming, and I want to so badly. I'm going to try every year. Literally every year, I'm going to try to get the pass to go and co-stream it because I really want to watch it live, man. I do. You would rather watch golf than baseball on TV? I love baseball if you're there live watching it. If you're hanging out at the game, because it's not just about the sport. It's like a whole event, okay? You're there, you're in the stands, you're eating food, you're talking to people, you're also watching. It's a really, really, really nice spectator sport in person. On TV? I always really liked the Mets. I did. But that's because, you know, when you're like a student, you can get like basically free entry to, or you used to be able to get free entry to a lot of Mets games and shit. So if I wanted to go do a thing, I could just show up. You know what I mean? So I was like, so I used to like do free shit, you know? But yeah. Now it's tough. You enjoyed long distance running in New York City? Oh, there's so many marathons and stuff. So many. GEEGA being into sports is the most shocking thing to date? Why? Why? I've always said that I like physical activity. I don't think you're wrong or anything. I just want to know why. Because you're not the only person who's had like that impression, but I guess maybe I don't talk about doing sports often or anything like that. Giga's a former athlete, bro. Yeah. Well, I don't talk about like what I used to do specifically, so that's probably a big part of it. That's probably why. The Brooklyn Half Marathon was so much fun. You know what's really fun actually? If you don't run them yourself, you don't want to or you can't or whatever, going to marathons and being there at the start, showing up to some midway points and then showing up to the end and treating it like a parade, right? And just being there to spectate can be really fun because oftentimes they have like stands set up where they're selling food, people are hanging out, they're cheering, and it's like if you just want something to go do that's free other than food costs, like that's it, you know? Shit like that's fun. And it doesn't happen too often, you know? I heard you have hunted and hiked, so to be honest, you liking sports isn't too shocking. Yeah, I loved doing stuff like that. I mean, nowadays I don't do nearly as much of it, right? Like, I'm mostly spectating, thinking about it, and going, yeah, I think that's cool. Obviously, I became medically compromised, so that affected me a lot. But even before that, I was working a lot, so I didn't have as much time to do all the same stuff. But I feel like that's the normal adult experience. I feel like that's typical. Hi, Rev! Hi, Rev! Rev, I have to message you about a thing later. Or I have to put you on a list of people to message about a thing, I should say. I'm putting you on there. Thank you for reminding me about you to put you on this list. There we go. There we go. Hope stream was good. What's going on? I'm gonna do the new Mafia today. Yeah, he's on the list. Probably soon. Probably soon. Giga could simply hunt the other VTubers for sport. Yeah. I could. It'd be so easy. They wouldn't even move. They'd sit in their chairs and turn around and go, huh? That'd be it. Oh, I just didn't give you the I like sports vibe. That's fair. That's fair. That is very, very, very fair. Does New York have any semi-pro teams? For what? For what? I mean, yes. There's some baseball, hockey. There's a minor league one on Long Island, and there's also minor leagues in the New Jersey area. I'm pretty sure there's one. There's quite a few, and in the city itself, I know there are things, but like, we've got like 2 major league teams, so, Oh, Brooklyn Cyclones, that was the name. Yeah, yep. I love that they're named after the cyclone. I love that one guy from that one side talk video who he says, like, he's talking to Ariana Grande, like, specifically. He's, like, making a video where he's talking at her, and he's like, catch me on the cyclone. he's telling her he wants to take her on the cyclone, and it's so funny. It's just them in Coney Island saying some shit. I really love Coney Island. That's the neighborhood I've spent a lot of time in, and it just oh, it just makes me laugh. Catch me on the cyclone, you heard? Oh my god. Somerset Patriots in New Jersey. Oh, is that what it is? Okay. Yeah, the minor league games can be really fun, and they're not as expensive as a lot of the other shit, Like the food there will actually be just food trucks with normal prices. Which, yeah, food trucks can still be a little expensive, but it's better than stadium food prices, and it's pretty good. So I know a lot of people that actually enjoy going to minor league games if their hobby is not so much about, like, keeping up on certain teams as much as it's about going there and just being there, right? Yeah, they're cheap, right? You get some food, you hang out. It's better than just going to someone's house and doing, like a barbecue or something, because then you have to cook for all these people, you have to prepare all this shit, you have to clean up, and sometimes people don't want to do that. So I know a lot of people that will just go to like a minor league game or some other sport, like some random shit, just to like have the barbecue experience with friends, but also there's a sport going on. And it's kind of funny. But hey, it works. It works. I don't know. I think it's a good idea. It's a good idea. I don't know. I haven't been to one in a bit. I want to go back. It's been a while. That's you. You went for the barbecues. Yeah, a lot of the time they actually straight up have people barbecuing nearby, and they're just families doing barbecues. Right? Some people will just park a car up nearby, open the back, haul out a bunch of equipment, and start making food. And like, good enough for me, man, right? Good enough for me. I love shit like that. Yeah, tailgating and all that. Though, depending on where you are in New York, that could be a little harder, but they're good spots for it. They're good spots for it. Nothing's better than a $20 tall boy. I mean, yeah, you're like, it's summer. It's a little hot, but not too hot. You're outside. You're like in that kind of weather where you're like ready to down something. You know, you get like a hot dog, you get like 2 glizzies and a bev, and you're just chilling. Oh, it's nice, man. It's nice. My favorite thing is in New York, a lot of the time when someone's doing hot dogs, they'll also do sausages and then have a pot on the side doing onions and peppers. So you got hot dog buns, but you don't have to necessarily get a hot dog. You can also do a sausage with onions and peppers in the hot dog bun. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's my favorite. So good. Some people do kielbasa, but no, usually this is like Italian shit. Italian scran, you know? Just straight up Italian scran. That shit is so good. So good. Love it. Give me every sausage. That's my favorite. That's my favorite. Sausage and onions and peppers on a bun. Unbeatable. Unbeatable, man. A little tomato sauce, just a little in there, but not much. Just a tiny bit. Sometimes it's not tomato sauce. Sometimes you do like this white winey kind of thing. Oh, white wine lemon. Crazy. It's crazy. As a stadium standard in your area. It should be, but it's for me, it's when people make it like out the back of their car. You know, and they do that shit like on the spot. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's so good. Ew, you said sausage, tomato, avocado, mayo. Sorry, I'm an avocado hater. Tomato and mayo? Really? With a sausage? I don't hate it. It wouldn't be my first choice. It wouldn't be my first. I think you need to put more stinky shit on there. I think a sausage lends itself to putting like really stinky stuff or pickled stuff on it. Personally. Sausage, sauerkraut, onion, and 1 line of mustard. Yeah, that's what I mean, right? Like that's very pungent stuff. I think that's the way, dude. I think that's the way. You're a hater for anything with mushy peas? Oh, yeah. I think peas are great when fresh, but yeah, when they're cooked down to oblivion, I'm okay. I'm okay. Tomato and mayo is extremely common. People just straight eat those two alone. Maybe some pepper on it. Maybe those people just aren't from the Northeast. That's something I feel like I haven't heard of much. Just tomato and mayo with a little seasoning. I'm trying to picture it. I don't think that's disgusting. I just think it's like, it doesn't sound that good. Like it's missing some shit. Like you have the acid from the tomato, which is good. You have this like creamy depth from the mayo, but mayo doesn't taste like a lot, right? So you've just got tomato acid flavor. And then what? I feel like we're missing things there. We're missing something. I don't know. West Coast for sure. It sounds like it. Sounds like it. I don't know if it is. So it's definitely a thing in Cali for you. Is it a lot of a thing or just like kind of a thing? Is it? I don't know. It's like mayo ketchup is not ketchup, just the tomato. The thing is, with ketchup, though, it also has vinegar. So it's like, it's got more of that stank to it. There's something more pungent to really add a lot of flavor. I feel like a tomato with mayo on it, you're just making like a wetter, oilier tomato exist. Unless you flavored that mayo. I'm just thinking like plain in my head. I'm thinking plain, you know? So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. It sounds weird to me. It sounds odd. Your family would put sliced tomatoes out as a snack. I mean, I don't think that's not normal. Maybe if you salt and pepper it, but like usually it's with something, right? I don't know. I'm used to like for Italian stuff, you put the slice of tomato out, but you also put slices of cheese and you put basil on it and you salt and pepper it a lot and then you drizzle it with olive oil. So yeah, you have the idea of that like slightly wetter tomato kind of thing, but you also have a cheese, which is usually a drier one, not like a super wet one. If you're doing it right, at least. And then, you know, there's an herb on it. So that, I get it. That's actually not my favorite thing to eat, though. I don't really like that much. But that's one way to do it. But I feel like you're adding more flavors. I'm thinking about just the tomato and mayo, and I'm like, it needs more. Even if you just put a little black pepper on it, like, it still needs more than that. I don't know, man. No, it's not for me. The more I think about it, the more I do, I'm like, there's not enough there. It's not for me. How about eating tomato sauce like applesauce? I'll do that if it's a good one. If it's one where it's just cooked down tomato and basil and that's it, I'm like, it's okay. But if it's one that has like onion, garlic, all this other stuff in it, I'll do that. I don't know. You'd rather bite into a raw onion than a raw tomato? At least you would feel something. Yeah. You looked up, apparently people literally just make a tomato and mayo sandwich? What? Why? Why would you... Why? Just tomato and mayo? That's not even a little finger food. That's a sandwich. Add stuff to it. That doesn't need bread. Okay, that's the problem too. Like, tomato and mayo together, that does not need bread. The bread just watered it down and added a lot of nothing to it. That's psychotic. Your dad would make that all the time? This is like, it's new to me. I'm thinking about it. I'm trying to recall if I've ever seen this, heard of like a friend say that they've done this, if I've ever seen something similar anywhere, and I genuinely cannot recall seeing anyone just put the two together on bread and be like, yep. Interesting. Well, I'll be eating like really good sandwiches. There's a lot more out there, guys. You can save yourselves, please. You can save yourselves. It's psychotic. That's my culture. Yeah, but I'm a streamer, so I can say what I want. And you have to sit there and cry. That's the dynamic. Sounds more like a struggle meal. It sounds like one, right? But I don't think fresh tomato is like enough of a struggle. Maybe if it was like beans. If it was like beans and mayo, I'd be like, yeah, that's a struggle meal. I don't know. Oh my god, what is this? Someone said, isn't tomato and bread just prosciutto or whatever? I don't think you know. You just picked an Italian word. Prosciutto is a type of ham. Prosciutto is a type of ham. You're thinking about bruschetta, where it's a type of little bread thingy, and then they'll also put tomato on it, but they'll usually also put herbs and season it and blah blah blah. Prosciutto's a ham, though. And they usually put ham on those or with them. Or like you'll see those little things laid out, but they'll be on a, cheese board or whatever the fuck. Yeah, Nightbot is freaking out. Is he okay? Actually, no. I like him doing this. I requested this. I requested that. He's not freaking out. He's being himself. He's living his best life. What the fuck? You recently found out one of your coworkers eats rice with yellow mustard. Not even brown mustard? First of all, like, that's already weird. But yellow mustard? Over brown? When you're like eating it alone and not like mixed with a lot of stuff, that's... I don't know, man. Ban him. Yep, wow. Ban him. That's weird. That's weird. Nothing in it? I would understand it if they also put like ham in it, right? Or sausage in it. Something like a kind of meat that goes with the mustard. And then the rice is there to fill it out because it's a bit of a struggle meal. But that's like ultimate struggle, right? You're like, I put mustard in my rice. But hard to judge too hard because I've been there. One of my favorite breakfasts back in the day, plain white rice, a little soy sauce, a little sesame oil. And that's it. Sometimes you do that when you're like ultra broke. You have that on the side with whatever you're eating, or you just eat just that. So I get it. I get it. I understand. And ideally you put an egg on top, but sometimes you don't have eggs. So I'm like, I get it. Can't even be mad at it. You would do plain white rice with just salt, not because you were poor, but just because you were a picky baby. I'll admit, something that goes crazy and is ultra simple is literally white rice, salt, pepper, butter. Butter. Put a little butter in it. Oof. That's like, oh. But you have to use a type of rice grain that is like European, not like sticky rice. That doesn't work well. The types that would specifically not stick together as a longer grain, I think that works well in that. And it's like a struggle meal version of a lot of time when you make things like rice pilaf and etc. A lot of like European rice dishes, you'll put butter in a pan, you'll put the rice in the pan, and you'll toast it a little bit and then put water in and cook it like normal rice, right? So you're like doing the slightest bit of browning on the outside, or a little bit of frying of the outside first. It's really good. This is just like the struggle meal version where you just make rice normally and then you throw a little butter in it retroactively. And ideally you put other shit in it, but when you're really struggling, sometimes it's all you got. Oh man, works well with Indian rices too. Yeah, just any of them that don't stick together works well, and you can't overcook it or it just comes out like mush. It's weird. Rice-a-roni, is that the one in the box? It's a waste of money because if you made those things yourself, it would be just as easy. Making the spice blend is super simple. You just have to look it up once and you're good. And that's it. You don't have to pay for the boxed thing. Just saying. Making a lot of those rice dishes and things are super easy. You still do butter on sticky rice? Do you really? I feel like that's an affront. I feel like sticky rice is of a good texture that it doesn't need anything like that, But that's just me. And that depends on how it's cooked, I guess, right? It's never the same as the box, though. I guess so. But you can make it really good on your own. You can make it really good. It's crazy how much money you've saved learning to cook instead of buying mixes and pre-made meals. Yeah, I think the problem is you have to keep buying in bulk and then you have to eat the same thing every day for a week, though. Which can be really annoying. Not that you literally do, but, When you live alone, it could be a lot. So that's why I understand some people not wanting to do that. You cook for 3 people? Yeah. Yeah, when you have more people in the household, it's easier to go through stuff a bit faster. And you're just splitting that cost amongst those people. It's whatever, right? But when you're living alone, it's so hard. Sometimes you actually do save money just buying a boxed thing because you're not wasting ingredients that you're not using in time, right? So it kind of works out. It kind of works out. Song This Is That's That by MF2. Anyway, speaking of food, let's play Mafia. I hope this game runs well. I didn't get to open it before stream. I didn't get to. So hopefully it's okay. Laka. Hopefully it's okay with how it runs. We shall see. We shall see. Okay, let me do this. Let me do that. Let's go over here. I think I won't do the overlay for this one. I think I'll go full screen for it. Maybe. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. I'm not sure where the UI is going to be. Yeah, praying for no crashes. It's always, you know... You never know. You never know. Okay, boom. I pause the music. Actually, let me close Spotify entirely. There we go.